Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your home. Get $25 off the Ring Video Doorbell when you go to ring.com/allaboutandroid. And by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for the right payments API, check out the Braintree V.0 SDK. With one simple integration, you get every way to pay. To learn more and to try out the sandbox, go to braintreepayments.com/Android. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 220, recorded on Tuesday, June 30th, 2015. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
Yes, good to be back.
It is good to be back.
I've got a Ron on my left. I've got a Ron on my right. Two Rons make a right.
Two Rons make a right. I like the sound of that.
Right, they do.
Yeah. How's it going, Ron Audio? Good to have you back.
Great. Yeah, awesome to be here. Last time I was in studio on Twig, which was super fun. I got to see all your crazy camera rigs and stuff. It was really neat.
All the cameras hanging from the ceilings and hanging from the cameras, stuffed monkeys.
Cameras hanging from the cameras.
Things hanging from the cameras.
So many cameras.
People come in here and they're
amazing.
They're like, why are there things hanging from the cameras that are hanging from the ceilings? And it's like, well, because that way, if you run into something, you're going to run into the thing that's hanging from the camera and not run into the camera itself.
Oh, I never realized that.
You'll actually notice it.
I just thought it was quirky.
It is kind of quirky.
Okay, I just.
But it's also there to draw your attention.
I just chalked it up to charm and to. You know,
I just like the central control pod that spins around in a circle and can deal with all of the sets in different directions. It's really neat. You guys have just built that thing.
And you
spins in a circle. It's so awesome.
You never know who's behind the control.
No, especially on this show, you never know which wacky technical director is going to be on. And this week, we are happy to welcome back Brian Burnett, although you almost didn't get your job back. I'm just saying, the people that filled in for you, they did a really good job.
Brian just decided to show up.
You know, and I'm totally okay with that because it sounds like Josh did a great job. You guys did a title of a show after him and stuff, too.
Yeah.
So.
You made the... Dude, you made the title.
Yeah.
when did you make the title?
I don't think I've ever made the title.
I'm just saying, you got to step up your game a little bit.
So Josh did well, Zach did well. I mean, it's been really it takes a village, it takes a community to make a show happen.
See, and I don't want to get complacent. I know that at any time I could be replaced, so I got to step up the game every episode.
Is this your new thing? The fact that anytime you're talking, your background is moving and spinning?
This could be a thing.
Okay.
Could this be a title of a show?
It's an iron stomach challenge.
I was going to say, Brian, you don't get nauseous, do you?
You look a little pale, Brian.
This isn't working out so good. This is not a good idea.
We'd also have to pay for Jason Cleanthus to be here for the entire episode to rotate.
It's definitely worth it.
He's getting a workout. Getting a workout.
We'll talk to Leo about that when he gets back from his vacation. Anyways, it's great to have you back, Brian. Awesome to have you back, Ron Amadio. We have a lot to discuss this week. We're going to be talking... I have in here. We'll be discussing a three-fer of two-fers. You'll know what I mean as the show goes along. The Xiaomi Mi 4i that Ron Amadio's spent a little while with and posted a review about. We'll talk all about that fancy device. Do you have it right there?
It's right there.
There it is. I think this is what I saw when we were at I.O., right?
Is that an iPhone or a Xiaomi?
Xiaomi, look, see, you can tell by the name on the back. That's it.
Okay.
It does look like a 5C, but whatever. It's cool.
Yeah. We'll talk all about that. The end of Circa. Didn't see that coming. That's kind of a bummer. A little bit about that. Battery breakthroughs and a whole lot more. What do you say we do this? Brian, I hope your vocal cords are warmed up. Let's dive into the news.
Well, my vocal cords aren't... Nope. No, I've totally lost the voice already.
Oh, my goodness.
Hold on.
Whoa, okay, redo?
See, it's been a week. I haven't done it in a while.
I know.
Do you need to warm up first there? Or?
I might be a little rusty, but the Android news certainly isn't. Here it is. Some more Android news. I thought I'd have more time to prepare.
Good, okay. Valiant effort. Valiant effort.
Gonna keep it honest.
You see, that's what happens when you show up to work. Yeah, it's amazing.
Right?
All right. Also, sometimes you show up to work and the software ID you use gets shut down. No, not shut down, but 6 months after version 1 of Android Studio was released, Google has announced the end of support for the Android Developer Tools plugin for the Eclipse IDE. Google said that those tools will continue to live on in the open source community via the Eclipse Foundation. So clearly Google is focusing on Android Studio, dropping support for Eclipse. Does this affect developers in a negative way, or does everyone just roll on and move to Android Studio or continue using Eclipse via open source?
I mean, I think the writing was kind of on the wall for a while, knew that it would happen eventually. And Ron Amadio, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine that most developers would probably consider Android Studio the better environment in which to do this kind of stuff.
I hope so. I always see, I don't know, you always see people that are unnecessarily attached to Eclipse, I guess. Studio has all these extra features though, and this was kind of always the plan, where you get like this cool interface layout manager in Studio now that you don't get in Eclipse. And this is just kind of always how they roll. They take like an open thing and start with that, and then slowly build like their own solution to replace it, I guess, which is kind of what you've seen them do with, WebKit and a million other Google projects. Just this is an Android Studio, an Android IDE specifically for Android with all their, they have full control over it and can change whatever they want and don't have to deal with upstream people that have other priorities and stuff like that.
And if the Eclipse community is going to live on in open source, those who prefer that for whatever reason can continue to use it. You know there'll be a group of people, whether it's a majority or minority is to be determined so far, but there will be a group of people who will stay loyal to Eclipse, and then the people who will move over. Some people will use this as a sign indication to make the move. I would imagine if I knew what I was doing, I'd probably learn Android Studio and then stick with it, because that seems to be the way forward. Yeah, the right boat to be on, But I'm sure that someone who knows much more about development could make a case for Eclipse.
Right. We're definitely obviously not developers here. Some folks in the chat room say they don't mind Eclipse and it wasn't that bad. Lone Wolf says Eclipse wasn't that bad. Longo says, I don't mind Eclipse. Not rave reviews necessarily.
Yeah.
But they're saying they don't hate it, essentially.
It's an option, which is fine. There's no right or wrong answer. I think you can do Android development in Visual Studio now if you really want to be like sacrilegious and do it on a Microsoft, like a total Microsoft platform. You can do that too. So, whatever gets the job done.
Yeah. Now, pardon my ignorance about this whole process. Does working in one IDE versus another actually result in better apps or a better experience? I imagine for the developer, it's probably better in some ways, worse in some ways, just as far as like comfort level of working in an environment. But
does
the
it
capabilities are the same, right? The end product is the same.
It shouldn't affect the end product. It's kind of more like, does an artist make better art with one kind of brush versus another?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a good analogy?
Chalk versus
I don't know. But
I've played with both. It's a little nicer when you're a total noob like I am. It's nicer to have Android Studio where all of the buttons are relevant. Where Eclipse, it's like, oh, this is for some kind of crazy development on some other platform. It's like every button from every developer environment in one interface on Eclipse, which is super scary when you're new and don't know what you're doing, because there's just buttons everywhere.
Right.
The Studio is much more streamlined.
Yeah, Studio is focused on the Android experience, whereas Eclipse has much more stuff going on in it. So, but I would imagine a developer would create something regardless of the tools they're using.
Right.
Yeah. So,
well, cool. There you go. Okay, this is awesome. How about a battery twofer? See, I told you there would be twofers in this episode.
You go.
This is the first. One, Samsung is claiming that its researchers have developed new battery technology that nearly doubles lithium battery capacity. This is done by using a graphene coat on top of the silicon surface. And that leads to higher energy density, according to this article. And if we ever see it, it'll lead to nerds dancing in the streets everywhere because battery is king.
Well, this is, I mean, we've talked about it before on the show. Battery is really the last frontier.
Yeah, it really is. We're hearing so much more about it now.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, all my phones are super fast and the screens are great and they've got great connectivity, and the only thing that lets me down is the battery life.
Yep.
Every time.
Pretty much.
Well, I'm glad that Samsung has a team of scientists doing science with graphs and things like that to show us, and because it's this weird kind of thing where like you tell me like, oh, this phone's got this kind of processor and it's doing, you know, it's running this sort of operating system. That I get. But when you get to the level of the of a coating on the lithium and you're getting into chemistry and stuff, then I have no comprehension of what it is.
Oh, no, I don't understand any of the words that I just read off this thing. And, I mean, I guess I understand it at a very basic level, which is battery, better.
Breakthrough. I like the use of breakthrough. How often do we get breakthroughs? And
this one, see, there's two different kinds of battery news, and we'll get to the second one in a minute. But this is the kind that will never happen. Because
that's what I was wondering.
If you look at it, one, it uses graphene, which is always in 5 years, we'll be able to do this graphene thing, and it'll be super awesome. Graphene products never come out. And two, this was published on nature.com, which is like a science journal kind of thing. So this is like research that they're doing in a lab where they're like, yeah, maybe in like 5 years, we'll be able to have these super awesome graphene batteries. But the next story, you'll see what the difference is, where it's a person holding the battery saying, we're shipping this to people right now, and it will be in your devices at the end of this year.
Yeah, very, very good distinction, because that's the thing that matters most to most people. Qi charging has long been super convenient, but kind of inefficient in how fast it charges. And Qi charging, for those who don't know what I just said, is QI, but I think it's pronounced Qi. It's basically wireless charging.
Qi.
Oh, wait, no, I messed that up. Oh, okay, sorry.
No?
I thought the next thing, I thought we were going to do the hexagonal batteries on in smartwatches. Do we not have this? Okay.
I don't, but then this is a threefer, because we should put that in there. What is that, real quick? What's that?
So batteries are rectangular. You can find this on Ars Technica.
Wait a minute.
Brian,
I think
as
I
Brian
saw
frantically hits a web browser.
It's in the middle column. It's like a couple down. Oh, it's pretty far down now, isn't it? I don't know. Just search hexagonal battery, and you'll see it.
I'm going to put it in the doc chat.
So batteries are rectangular, and that's great when you have a rectangular smartphone. But LG Chemical developed hexagonal batteries, where they're not shaped like a rectangle anymore. It's kind of circular. So when you have a smartwatch, what they do is stick a square inside of a circle and miss all of this. They lose all of this space because it's a square and it doesn't use the full body of the smartwatch. Where this is hexagonal, it's a little closer to a circle, so they'll be able to pack, I think they said 25% more battery into a smartwatch now. And like here, you have a person holding the battery, and they're like, you will get this at the end of the year, and it will be in, whatever, whoever LG supplies, which is everybody. I mean, they supply Apple and LG Electronics and a bunch of other places. So this is like an actual battery improvement that you'll see at the end of the year, which is really cool. And it just seems really simple. Just, batteries in the shape of a smartwatch.
It makes sense.
That's awesome.
And we should note it's also the return of the smiling Asian model holding cell phone, which went away this year at CES. It was there last year, but it's back. I'm glad to see that. But it kind of is. This is the kind of thing where it seems like, oh, they changed the shape of the battery to fit the device better. It seems like a no-brainer, but when you think about it, it's not really being done that way. And it's nice to see that kind of innovation, but also innovation that could be applied immediately. In this way, where they're actually holding the battery and it exists. It's not theoretical like the article about the
maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. Right, exactly. And I mean, along that line, yes, your kind of tease to that, Ron, works here too. In other kind of real world news, Qi charging, which is the wireless charging that I was talking about, it's kind of an inefficient way of charging, but it's very convenient. Now they've updated basically the Qi charging spec to allow for 15 watt fast charging. So it'll be as fast as plugging in, to a fast charger on an Nexus 6 or whatever batteries that support that fast charging, which I have to say, if we can't have larger more capacity, longer lasting batteries, that's a pretty darn good alternative. I love how fast it charges, and you get, you know, that's a great option to have if you can't have the other, you know. So having that wirelessly is even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't fix batteries, just let me plug in for an hour and top off really quick.
Yep.
And get as much juice as possible. The wireless stuff is really neat. They want to do like wireless laptops and all this other stuff with the Qi charging. It's going to be really cool. Like I always go to CES and see the crazy demos where it's like wireless power from like 15 feet away and all that stuff. But like the higher power Qi charging like actually does work, and they want to use it for laptops and everything else. It's going to be really cool.
We're going to get to a point where it will just be wireless power around us, and we don't have to worry. Our devices will always have charge because this power, and then we will all die from some sort of exposure or poisoning or something. So, I mean, you know, it's great. My phone stayed charged, but I cut 30 years off my life.
Bummer, dude.
Well, no, but I always say
glow at night.
Yeah.
I always make the reference to we're working towards the Roddenberry vision of life of Star Trek, right? And you never see them plugging in the tricorder; it just stays charged.
Yeah, right.
You assume it's going to be there someday.
You're surrounded by power.
Exactly, it'll work, and they'll figure it out, and it'll be fine.
At some point, we aren't going to need to eat food because we'll be powered by the same thing.
Right? Yeah. There you go. Oh, but
that would be the best episode. The away team gets stranded on a planet because their little their little booper things were out of power and they couldn't get a lock, and so they need to go into town and like create MacGyver some kind of thing together to get power to their things.
Stone knives and bearskins, like City on the Edge of Forever. Wow, I'm a Star Trek nerd.
Wow, yeah.
No one actually knew that. I am. Yeah.
I'm just happy I know who Spock is.
Yeah. The episode where they go back to the 30s.
No, I know. No, you can tell me all about these episodes. I appreciate Star Trek. I was never like a hardcore fan of Star Trek.
Love Star Trek.
And
Star Trek was
that's
great.
when everybody boos at me and stuff. But I'm used to it.
It's okay. I still like you. We'll talk about booing or cheering, perhaps. But has this ever happened to you? Have you ever been on a web page on your phone and just by scrolling over an ad, it acts as if you tapped it, as if you triggered the ad? It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
Very annoying.
Google's tweaking how ads are interacted with to help prevent such accidental click-throughs. And that's the thing. I've got big fingers and a small display size, and those ads, while I get it, I'm fine with seeing them. I hate, because what happens sometimes is that you're reading the page as it's loading and the ad hasn't come through yet, and you're doing the flick.
Stuff's happening and it slows down the interface.
And I'm going like that, and that flick, I accidentally catch an ad in the space of my big fat thumb, and then it triggers the ad. It's nice to see that Google is looking at how it's actually being used and changing it to...
Especially because doesn't this kind of go against their bottom line a little bit?
True.
But hey, they've got more money.
But they're figuring it out.
So,
they're figuring it out. So...
Yeah, it's cool. They do the opposite for buttons a lot of times, where the clickable area will be bigger than what the button looks like, so you don't miss it. Like on Android Wear, they do that all the time, where like they'll have a button and it's in the center of the screen, but it's actually the entire screen,
right?
And you're just never gonna miss it because it's way bigger than you think it is.
So this is like the reverse of that, where they're making the ad is so big, but the clickable area is smaller.
It's so annoying. That's the full screen like inside app ad takeovers, and then they put. You have to find which corner the X is at, and then they make it super small, and you accidentally touch, and that's actually one specific thing that Google called out, that they're making that intent way less sensitive to clicking the ad instead of the X. They're also delaying it, so when an ad appears, you can't immediately tap it and go through. That prevents like an ad suddenly appearing where you're about to tap, and then that registered as an ad tap. Like there's going to be a little bit of a delay, so that if that happens, it actually doesn't send you through.
So here's a question, and this gets less in the realm of Android and technology and more in the line of advertising and monetization. But where's the IAB in all this? So for those who don't know, the IAB is the Internet Advertising Bureau or Board or whatever it is, and they are an independent kind of organization, and they're the ones who define that a banner is 728 by 90 or 300 by 250, and they're the ones who decide, like, these are IAB standard banner sizes and stuff like that. Why aren't they standardizing where the dang X goes to close a takeover ad or any of that stuff? I mean, it drives me crazy the same way, where if you're on a browser, it's in a different spot for every different ad. My latest I'm seeing now is I'm seeing full screen takeover over an ad, not just like a modal window, but the entire width of the browser It drives me crazy. I get it. Especially we work in a world where we depend on advertising, and I support it, but have some standards, give the users some consideration, and don't assume that they all just want to click it. Make a good ad that's compelling and they'll watch it. And so I don't know. But
how's Contributor working for you?
Contributor's great, actually.
What's weird is you brought it up on the show. That was the first time I had heard about it. And apparently you said you had talked about it on the show a few weeks prior to that, and I don't know if I was here when that happened. I honestly don't think that I was.
You might not have been listening to me.
Yeah, sometimes I tune you out. You just talk sometimes, you know. And ever since then, I hear everybody talking about Contributor. Leo's doing it, Jeff Jarvis. You know, just like everybody has. I got an invite the other day, and so I'm going to sign up for it too. But has it been pretty effective? Like,
it's been.
Do you have cat photos inserted in?
No, currently right now I have just don't show anything. At one point I did have show a picture of Morrissey instead, but I just shared.
You're like, even I have too much Morrissey right now. Yeah, even I, Ron Richards, can't stand to look at Morrissey for another block.
I'm trying to see what how many here. I can get some stats here on my. So I'm only contributing $2 a month. You can contribute $2, $5, or $10.
And the more you contribute,
the less ads you see. And it is a percentage of the ads that you see.
Right.
So I signed up as soon as it launched, and that was in. I'm switching to all-time stats right now. Okay, so as of April 26th till today, June 30th, I've had 1,878 ads removed.
Wow.
And it tells me how much I've contributed to. Ironically, the top contributor is a site I own, but we won't talk to anybody about that. But RollingStone.com, Yumly.com, Yelp, Android Me, Eater, Android Police, thehardtimes.net, which is awesome. Even YouTube, Android Central, Deadline, Washington Post.
That's a crazy list.
I mean, pretty much anybody using.
So it blocks ads on Google's ad network?
Yes.
Okay, and what does the money go to the sites through?
The money goes to the site.
Their AdSense paychecks?
Yeah, the money goes to the site. Now, it's important to note that of those almost 2,000 ads I've contributed to, the site that has earned the most has received 41 cents.
Nice.
So but the thing is, in aggregate, if there are millions or thousands of people using it, then that 41 cents times 10,000 can add up. If I were to ship in $10 a month, it would probably be a higher percentage. But this is great. I mean, I would, it's the true kind of wish that we have, which is that let me pay a monthly amount and let me not see any ads. But.
Sorry, my inhumanly large legs under the table just knocked a bunch of cables down underneath, and I just heard a crash.
I was trying to cover it.
I appreciate that. My laptop doesn't have any power right now, but it's okay.
I feel bad.
I will figure it out.
I feel bad for CNET because they've gotten less than a cent from me.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's all ad views are worth, though. They're not worth any amount of money. You need like 10,000 ad views to get any kind of actual dollar amount. So that seems in line. That's fine.
It's all volume. It's totally all volume. So, but it's really cool. If you can get an invite to Contributor, I would recommend it. I think it's pretty neat, and it and it has removed ads. I just instead of saying anything, I just get a box where the ad says this ad has been removed by Contributor, or thanks for being a contributor or something like that. So
that's cool. That's a great option to have.
Yeah.
Where you aren't totally stripping away every single thing under the moon.
Right.
And okay, so Ron, we're going to go into somewhat of a
somber
hardware, but WEAR, the wearable hardware.
That's a cue, Brian.
I'm just giving some time.
I was wondering if I was supposed to play sad music with it.
That would have been great.
I was kind of leading towards sad music.
Do you have the Peanuts, the sad Charlie Brown music?
I just have the taps.
Look at that. Yeah, I guess this is more appropriate.
So,
oh no!
Yeah, this is not good.
What happened to the other half of your watch?
Not good. So I don't know if you can see those cracks there, and also underneath this layer, moisture got in there.
So what?
How did you do that?
Bubbling.
What happened?
You'll never believe what kind of torture I put this through. I was wearing it on my wrist.
As you do.
Go to the wide shot, and I'll show you my action that I did when it busted off my wrist entirely. I went like this. That's all I did.
Really?
I went to get up.
Oh wow.
So it was just purely it caught a bad angle. It went too far down on your wrist.
So and apparently this is a common thing with the leather band on the Moto 360. Yeah. Unfortunately, the leather band is what ships by default. And so this has happened to a lot of people, and you can get in touch with Motorola, and they will probably do some sort of replacement with this. And then everybody on Google Plus just basically said, get the metal band.
You got to go metal, Jason.
It has a protection against doing this. But what I think happened is the leather band over time kind of stretches out, right?
Yeah.
And so for the past couple of months, have been cinching it one hole tighter. And I think that maybe just my hulking muscles when I went to get up.
Intense.
Just snapped it. I mean, and it just, like, it flew. It went ping and flew right off my wrist. And I was like,
Jason was angry.
Oh, look at that. Oh, he's watch out.
Watch break.
So that's still your smartwatch of choice, the Moto 360, both of you?
No, I've got the LG G watch. I'm holding.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I'm holding someone else's. Is this Brian's?
That's
watch?
my watch.
I just turned on your flashlight.
Oh, there goes my battery.
Lucky you.
Right.
Yeah, this is Brian's. I have not purchased the 360 because I'm waiting to see what the 362 is.
Yeah.
If it ever happens.
I mean, I'm definitely going to get a replacement for this. Hopefully Motorola will replace it. And if not, then I'll wait. Yeah, I'll wait for the next Moto 360. But I'm missing it. I will say that. I'm missing not having this on my wrist. And I want you to come, I want you to come home. Come home. Now all you do, you sit on my nightstand and you wait for me to come home and just look at you in clock mode. And that's not good enough for me.
So sad. Wait a minute. Can we hack? Can we do a little mod here? And can we remove this part of the leather band and just keep this and get a gold chain and you wear it around your neck like Flavor Flav?
Rise from the grave.
Well, and oh no, you do it upside down so you could see it. So you just hold it up like that, or it could be like a pocket watch.
Everyone else has to go.
Wait a minute, we can get a little lid. And
there's got to be someone that's made a pocket watch.
There is. I remember Jason Clanthus bought one.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, I mean it cracked. There, if you take a look up close, and you won't be able to see it on the overhead shot probably because it's so far away. But there's cracks in all four corners. This one's just still connected.
It's just a matter of time.
And I never noticed the cracks, so I don't even know if the cracks were there or if it just happened because of my hulking muscles when I got up from the sitting position. So I don't know.
CR1 in the chat room also suggests you get a monocle. And the pocket watch, and then a top hat, and then you can buy Atlantic Avenue for the Monopoly.
I will pass go as well. I'll collect $200.
I'm so sorry. That's so sad.
Yeah, that happened over the weekend.
Well, good thing you didn't pay for it.
I suppose. Suppose you're right, Ron.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things,
it's true. Yeah,
it was free.
I should. Yes.
Well, there'll be.
I have no right to complain.
There should be some cool new smartwatch to replace it with soon. I hope.
Oh, I'm sure.
I feel like we've hit like the cool down point in smartwatch hardware. Like they were just kind of continuously coming out, and then it just kind of cratered and stopped.
Yeah, it has kind of
slowed down. Yeah. I want like a smartwatch that looks better. I don't really like the way anything on the market right now looks. They're all just so huge, which on me, I have tiny wrists, so it's a problem.
Right.
But
everybody obviously, if they have a watch in the wings, they delayed for a little bit for obvious reasons because they were not going to get a whole lot of coverage the previous 2 months or so. We'll start.
We'll see more as we get closer to the fall and then to the holidays. That's when we'll get the tidal wave. So yeah. But there's a lot of other cool new hardware to check out.
There is. In fact, we have a new sponsor on this show. I'm super excited about. This episode is brought to you by Ring Video Doorbell, and it's kind of like what you would expect when you hear video doorbell, although maybe you don't have a video doorbell. I don't have a video doorbell. I want to check one of these suckers out. Over 95% of home break-ins happen during the day. Burglars almost always start by ringing your doorbell just to see if someone's home before, pillaging through your possessions and finding all the things that they want. Oh, thank you. Oh, someone's at the door. Maybe I should just check the video that's running on my Ring Video Doorbell. So what is Ring Video Doorbell? Basically, you can see and you can talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone.
Well, they have to be at your door.
Yes.
Oh, you can be anywhere in the world.
You can be anywhere in the world, okay? But they have to be at your door, whether they are a burglar or someone dropping off a package, delivering a package, or anyone that stops by. Ring has advanced motion detection that actually alerts you. Even if someone doesn't ring the doorbell, it detects motion and it'll let you know. It's like caller ID for your home. Installing Ring takes minutes. As you can see here with this package, you've got all the tools that you need to get it installed.
That's a drill bit.
super easy process to put it all, install it on your existing setup. And yeah, it works either with your current wiring or built-in rechargeable battery. So it's super flexible. You can put your mind at ease. You can protect your home with the video doorbell. Time Magazine actually named it one of the top 10 gadgets of 2014. I know I've seen Leo kind of demonstrate his Ring video doorbell on his home, and it's super cool. You could see Lisa hopping on her Segway and riding off into the distance.
Can I try it?
Go for it. Do it, please.
Ready?
Somebody's home.
That's pretty cool.
Hi, I'm just out here trying to pillage your home. Are you home?
There you go.
Oh, you are. I'm going to run away now. That's our dramatic reenactment. So right now you can get the Ring video doorbell for only $174. That's $25 off the normal price. It's Ring video doorbell. Protect your home and have peace of mind with Ring. Go to ring.com/allaboutandroid. That's all you need to know, right? ring.com/allaboutandroid and check it out for yourself. And it's super cool. I'm going to have to get one of these. We don't have a doorbell right now. I'm going to get one of these.
I'm telling you, every time one of these smart home devices come up, I lament the fact that I rent an apartment in a building and I can't use it. It's like, oh, I want to use this so badly. But
you have an apartment door, right?
Well, yeah, but they have the things and the buzzes and all that. Yeah, but no, I don't. And I don't like. Nobody comes over my house, so it doesn't matter. So this is moot. But I picture a world where I live in the suburbs and I have lots of friends who come over all the time and they ring my smart doorbell and I can see them on my phone from anywhere in the world. Someday, dreams do come true.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, ring.com. Appreciate it. All right, let's take a look at other cool hardware. Okay, then. How about a leaky rear dimple roundup?
All right.
Twofer, whatever you want to call it. And I know that sounds weird.
If you're ever going to do leaky rear dimples, you want to do them in groups of two.
Yes.
Not just one.
It's weird. This week, this could be a new segment. The leaky rear dimple segment.
Insider tip, always do your leaky rear dimple segments in groups of two. It's an industry standard. Really, you never want to do less than two.
And if you're creeped out right now, don't be, because what we're actually talking about are phones that supposedly leaked that have a dimple on the backside of the device. I know. It's really specific. But in this strange world that we live in, there are, in fact, two stories of this happening. First, in the case of the Moto G 2015, a.k.a. the Osprey, leaked renders show that the backside of the device has been redesigned from the previous years with a nice metallic plate surrounding the camera and leading down to, yes, the dimple.
A rear dimple.
There's the Motorola dimple on the back. Pretty standard for Motorola devices as of late. This time in a metallic flavor, I suppose. Other random rumors from this and other sources: Snapdragon 410, 1 gig of RAM, which is kind of light, but it is the Moto G. 5-inch 720p display, 8 gigs of storage, LTE support. All that sounds pretty.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Moto G is the more affordable phone.
Yes.
I mean, the Moto G is the phone that my sister got my 12-year-old niece. It's like
And how is that going?
It's actually going pretty good. Actually, she texted me. She texted me that she watched Star Wars.
That's awesome.
So it's
for the first time.
No. We watched the whole trilogy when I was home, and I told her you can watch the prequels on your own. I don't need to.
I need to be there. So, what were you gonna say, Ryan?
I love the Moto G. It's the phone I tell everybody to buy that needs a smartphone but doesn't care enough about it to need like a super flagship. So like both my parents have one and all that. This is not a huge upgrade over the internals. One from last year.
It's not. Yeah.
Like it's still a 720p screen. You're going from a Snapdragon 400 to a Snapdragon 410. Like I'm not blown away here. I mean, I guess it's $180 and you can't complain that much, but like it's not it's not going to be like a huge deal, really. I mean, even the design kind of whatever. The design's fine.
Rear metallic dimple, Ron.
Yeah, great.
Let's not underestimate the value of a rear metallic dimple.
That leaked.
In the great, well, well, I mean, the news leaked. The dimple didn't leak. The dimple held up.
Okay.
Listen, the dimple is sound. The dimple is some top engineering.
Not have an incontinence problem.
There are no imperfections in that dimple. There's a guy at Motorola who works in the dimple quality department, and he will not stand for any talk of his leaking dimples.
That guy has unsubscribed from this show in the last 5 minutes. Yeah,
a long time ago.
I'm sorry
After he
that we
moved to
lost
China.
him.
It does have LTE though, which is probably going to be a big deal. Because the old one doesn't. It had an LTE version that was more expensive.
Okay.
So that's going to be important.
Yeah, if this was just like LTE standard on all Moto Gs, then maybe that's.
But if it keeps the price down and it keeps it as that entry level parents, niece, kid phone, I mean, that works.
The 400 to the 410 versus the 800 to the 810. I mean, they're still kind of sticking to the same kind of tier.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be 64-bit now, and the goofy ARM core instead of the Qualcomm core, whatever. I hope it's good. I mean, the Snapdragon 810 is this same family, which is the ARM core that's like super inefficient compared to the Snapdragon or compared to the Crate Qualcomm stuff, which has all these overheating. So the ARM chip has all these overheating problems, and this is part of that same family, so it's scary, but whatever. I mean, the 808 was okay, and the 615 was fine, but. You should wait for a benchmark and for someone to tell you it's not going to melt into a puddle.
Not a leaky benchmark, a real benchmark.
Or a leaky puddle.
Yeah. So
next, the OnePlus 2 with supposedly leaked photos showing a wooden back.
Ooh.
And what do you know? A metallic plate surrounding the camera and its own
Look at that
rear dimple.
Look at that dimple.
Now, that dimple's a little different.
Is that a functional dimple?
This is... Yes, probably a functional dimple. OnePlus did announce in their slow leak strategy, slow drips. It just keeps going. Unintentionally keeps going.
Slow leakage.
Strategy of releasing bits one drip at a time.
Might as well. Why
not? And basically their last feature, I believe, is that they've announced is a fingerprint reader. And when you look at the front of those images, there is no real space on the front for a fingerprint reader, so it makes sense that
it's the dot. It's the darker gray dot there.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do we believe this is a wood-backed OnePlus 2? I mean, that's with these leaks. I mean,
it sounds like something they do.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
OnePlus just I don't like talking about OnePlus. Everybody with a OnePlus has all these problems, and they do all their scummy marketing, and they have all these update problems with CyanogenMod and their own thing, and I don't like it.
You don't hold it against me for doing the leaky rear dimple roundup, including the OnePlus 2, do you?
That's fine. You're playing their game.
All right. Yeah. Even though a couple of weeks ago, I think I said explicitly on Google Plus I wasn't going to play their game.
I think I remember that. Actually.
I like that post. That was great. I definitely agreed with that. Where they're trying to manipulate the press as much as possible. I need a release date for this.
Yeah.
Because if it were coming out tomorrow, it'd be great. It'd be one of the first phones with a fingerprint reader that probably uses a Lollipop API, and one of the first phones with USB-C. But it's not going to come out tomorrow. It's going to come out like 5 months from now, because that's how OnePlus rolls.
Right.
And that's really annoying.
Well, they haven't had a marketing disaster since the slow rollout. I mean, I don't know if you want to gauge Jason's reaction.
Number of days.
Yeah, no,
number of days since a marketing disaster.
We have that, Ron. Normally, we have it's been X number of days since OnePlus screwed up their marketing. But I think the PR rollout thing isn't a marketing. It's not as bad as the hot girls take selfie photo campaign
different level.
There's been worse, so I don't know. Well, in other phone news, Xiaomi, did I get that correct?
Xiaomi.
Look at that.
Like shower.
Xiaomi, for the first time outside of Asia, is releasing a phone called the Redmi 2 to Brazil. The device is already available in other markets. In order to release the Redmi 2 in Brazil, they chose to manufacture and assemble the phone inside of Brazil, another first for the company that normally does all inside of China. Brazil heavily taxes electronics imports and gives tax breaks to those that manufacture inside the country. And this is totally true. I was literally just having dinner with a friend of mine who is Brazilian, and we were talking about the challenges of expanding to Brazil, especially within hardware. And he was telling me about how in the 80s, there were no Apples in Brazil. You couldn't get a Mac or an Apple II Plus because Apple would not manufacture inside Brazil, and they would not allow a Brazilian company to manufacture a clone. So Brazil has lots of restrictions over, it's got to either happen in Brazil, or if you're not going to do it, allow another company to make the same thing with Brazilian people and parts and that sort of thing. Another unknown requirement of working in Brazil, or it's known, is that it has to be very sexy. So
this is a requirement, like an official requirement?
Brazil is all about the sexy. And so the Redmi 2 has got to be a sexy phone.
It's got to be, like sporting a bikini or something.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's sexy in Brazil. But Xiaomi expanding to South America.
And Brazil's a pretty big market to get into.
Huge market.
Cool. Maybe it's possibly a sign of things to come. We're always talking about when Xiaomi is going to kind of break out of being just serving the Asian market essentially, and this is kind of an example, the first step of that. I don't know if we're going to see them in the U.S. anytime soon, but.
Yeah. Well, they already have a store here, so they're working on it. But I mean, if you're just a cell phone consumer, whether you like Xiaomi devices or not, you should still be rooting for them to come to your country, because the competition that they put out is crazy compared to the rest of the smartphone industry. Like, they will drive prices down, and the only reason I feel like the only reason they're not like the #1 smartphone manufacturer is because they have limited territories. Like, even with the handful of countries they're in, which is maybe like 6 or 10 or somewhere in that handful of countries, they're like they're top 5, I think, because the devices are just so cheap and so well made for the money that everyone else should be. I say this every time I'm on here, but for real, everyone else should be terrified if you're a smartphone OEM, because the devices are just so good and cheap.
Well, and that's something you don't normally hear: cheap and well made.
Yeah.
And so you got to you've got to wonder how they're doing that, because typically cheap means not well made. At least by American standards here. I mean, I guess by Chinese standards, they're able to keep the prices down because they're controlling the labor and all that sort of stuff. But that is a combination that is rare here in the States. So I'd be curious.
So speaking of cheap, well, let's say inexpensive and well made. Let's see here. Ron, you spent some time with the Mi 4i. I believe I got to see this firsthand at I.O. You got this. This was the device that you got while we were at I.O., right?
Yeah. Right. I got it, and we sat down on the couch and unboxed it and looked at my pile of Xiaomi stuff. Yeah, this is really cool. It's $200. We just talked about the Moto G, which was $180 for a Snapdragon 410, even the new version. This is a Snapdragon 615. So quad-core processor, 1.4 gigahertz on the bigger set of cores, 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of storage, a 13-megapixel camera, a 3,120 milliamp hour battery for $200. That's a huge deal. Like, this is one of the best spec'd phones you can buy for $200 from anybody. Like, no one else is even close. I mean, we just talked about the Moto G. It's an entire tier down for $20 less. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem with it, though, is MyUI, the Xiaomi Skin. So this is their first lollipop version. So before, it was kind of KitKat, and they used the same KitKat UI on lollipop. So while they do a ton of development on their skin, they're lagging behind lollipop so much now that it is really a detriment to the device. I mean, you don't get multi-user support. You don't get what else? I have a big list somewhere of things that it's missing. There's just so much here that because they just slapped the old version of the UI on top of the existing one. Right, Alcatel is the only thing close to the spec sheet. Let me find my list.
Overview.
Yeah,
the
it's a
recent apps
5-inch
revamp
1080p device.
doesn't exist.
Right, yeah. Right. So you can't do any of the document-centric stuff where like you can open 2 documents from Google Drive or open or have Chrome tabs show up in recent apps.
Right.
All of that's been paved over. You get either icons or these crazy full-screen thumbnails where you get they're vertical, they're full-screen thumbnails and they scroll sideways. So you get 2 recent apps on screen at once, as opposed to like the 5 or 6 that you would get on Lollipop.
Right.
And like this is
That's a
borderline
throwback, yeah.
useless. And the other thing you can do is icons. So you can kick it gingerbread style. Yeah. And
Well, the full screen looks a lot like iOS.
yeah, right.
I mean, which is
yeah.
not surprising given the look of the rest of that
Device
skin
itself.
Yeah.
Right. This phone looks a lot like an iPhone 5C. So like it's all plastic and it wraps up around the side and you kind of have a border here. And it comes in mostly all the same colors that a 5C comes in. And it has it has a menu button. I don't understand. So there are no menus in the operating system. It opens recent apps like you would expect, but they never
But it looks
change
like a menu.
the icon.
Weird.
That's pretty funny.
And it's like recent apps is a horizontally scrolling thing of thumbnails. So this icon does not represent what happens on the screen at all.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but it's really fast. The camera is decent. It's got a really big battery in it. It has LTE and quick charge and a 1080p screen. The only thing it's really missing is NFC, which who cares?
Yeah, I used NFC this morning. It worked.
Okay, but just I guess my UI and Lollipop, they kind of, and Android, they kind of leapfrog, I guess, one another, and Google kind of revved their operating system, and Xiaomi hasn't caught up yet. So like they will probably fix it eventually, and then Xiaomi devices will be good again. But for right now, just slapping the KitKat UI on top of your Lollipop base is not good enough.
Well, and it's hardly Lollipop base entirely because it's missing so many, like no smart lock options, no battery saver mode, no way to search the settings.
That's really
no camera 2 API. That's a bummer.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
My question when I look at it is that is Xiaomi trying to put a compelling competitor in the Android market, or are they trying to put a compelling iOS competitor? Because it seems like they're way more concerned with iOS than they're concerned about Android. Android is a means to the end to combat people getting iPhones in China. Is that correct? And that's what it seems like. I mean, down to the grouping of the apps in that little box and everything. I mean, like it's
that's the cool popular phone in China.
Yeah.
Apple's the big brand there, so they want to be close to that style, I guess. Where here there's kind of the dual, you have the Google people and you have the Apple people. Over in China, it's everybody likes Apple, and they want to be close to that. And Google Play is not over there, so people aren't really exposed to the kind of stock Android stuff. I'm saying my UI, it's me UI. The JJ to the 448 in chat. That's right. Yeah, it is me UI. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
it's me. I believe. Anyway.
Yeah.
their whole pronunciation thing is super hard. It's a big mental load to try and remember all the crazy pronunciation.
Yeah, no, but I think the stuff that's missing, they don't even know they're missing. It's not like if this phone came out here, we'd be like, oh, it doesn't have all this stuff. But there, it doesn't matter. It's just a means to an end. Yeah. So
and it looks good and it's inexpensive.
Exactly.
And all that. Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of reiterate, like this is a phone for China and the Asian market. So you're not getting your Google Play services. You're not getting any of the Google apps or anything like that. You can put them on there, but you're not getting them right out of the box, right?
Only in China does Xiaomi not ship Google Play stuff. Every other territory, they ship Google Play.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, they're
because the Mi 4 that I got
was super not.
Yeah, like I had to jump through some hoops to get it on.
Right. I talked to Hugo at Hugo Barra, their VP of International at IO, and they have 2 different loadouts for software. There's China and then there's rest of world. So everybody that's not China gets gets Google Play. And like as much as you would think that kind of goes against their strategy, they're more interested in the good user experience that you get from Play services than they are trying to, sell you stuff through their store.
Right.
And I was like, how does that jive with your whole money-making scheme? And they're like, well, if we release in America, we could always charge a little more, or we could, try to make the difference up other ways. But they're just more interested in the user experience than they are trying to force their app store on you and all that.
That's great.
Cool.
Cool stuff. So the Mi 4i, would you recommend people who are interested seek it out online and import a copy of it, import a version of it?
Yeah, that's the problem. Importing it will probably make it cost a lot more.
Yeah.
If you could get it for $200, that would be pretty cool. And if you don't mind the crazy list of features that you're missing, or if you can, or if ROMs are made available for it, which will happen, but have not happened right now because it's pretty new. But for most people, you don't get to make a decision. It's the Moto G is what you're going to buy because that's what's for sale in your country. And you would have to double check on bands and stuff. Like I put a SIM card in here and it seemed to work fine. I'm not sure if I was getting every possible band that I could have, but it worked. I got LTE. It seemed to be fine. Oh, but really cool. If you go, this is super easy to take apart. And if you go see Hugo Barra he will strip this down in front of you with a screwdriver and like a little pry tool. So he's just like busting it open and taking it apart and showing components. It's really cool. Like what other company executive would even have the technical ability to do that and put it back together and have it work?
Yeah. That's impressive.
There's videos. You can go find videos on YouTube of him, doing like his own teardown and stuff.
That's pretty
very cool.
Nice.
Excellent. All right, well, we got an email that applies to something that Xiaomi isn't very cool at. But so Mike writes in, and Mike asks about OEMs and software support over time. I currently have a Moto X from 2013, and though I love the phone, I'll be upgrading soon. I would love to try a phone like the Oppo R7 or another not as well-known phone because I'm curious. My problem is I don't know how well or for how long those companies will support the software before moving on to new products. What OEMs, other than the popular ones like Samsung, LG, HTC, Moto, etc., make a great phone, and how long do they typically support the software by pushing new Android updates? So the question is that if you take a risk and get a Huawei or a Xiaomi or an Oppo phone, can you depend on that OEM to give you the Android system updates as they come? And what has your guys' experience been?
I mean, my experience was with Huawei.
Yeah, Huawei.
And as far as that was concerned, I mean, it kind of went back and forth, but their update kind of dedication isn't necessarily the greatest, let's say. And then, Ron, you were talking about Oppo when we were emailing about this. Not so hot, right?
Yeah. So what was it? Oppo is usually a good one full version behind of the right of the most of the current version. So they released their KitKat update when Lollipop was out. They released their Lollipop update when 5.1 was out, and the Android M preview was out. What they just okay, breaking news: Android 5.1 Lollipop for the Huawei Ascend Mate 2 just came out. So there's Huawei.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, right? I mean, they're getting better. I mean, what was the other one? Oh, right. Xiaomi's bad at it too. Like we said, this is technically Lollipop, which would still be bad, but it's not even full Lollipop. They paved over it. So I mean, you're asking for way too much here. Like the big brands aren't even good at updating their phones quickly, I don't think. And you're asking these smaller guys to do it. And we're not even there yet. The big guys don't even have it figured out. And I get that that's frustrating. Like that's what bothers me the most about Android. Like you would think there's a million phones out there and you have all this hardware to choose from. But it's like, if you want good updates, you really don't have too many choices. You have whatever the Motorola flagship is, and then you have whatever the Nexus phone is, and then that's about it. Everything else you're going to be waiting months for an update, which really sucks. And I wish it would be great if someone could fix this, but this is the world we live in. It's just all the updates across the board are bad. Deal with it, or buy an Nexus or a Motorola.
Right.
And hope Lenovo doesn't ruin Motorola.
So far, so good. We'll see how that pans out, I suppose.
So anyway, so buyer beware with that. I mean, if you want to take a risk on that phone, realize that it might be a while till you get an update. So,
but you're going to get that with a lot of different devices.
Right. It's bad across the board.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. All right, let's take a quick break and thank our other sponsor of today's episode. That is Braintree. Developers, listen up. This is code for easy online payments. If you're building a mobile app or if you're searching for a simple payment solution, you should check out Braintree. Braintree V.0 SDK actually makes it easy to offer multiple mobile payment types. You can start accepting PayPal, Apple Pay, Bitcoin, Venmo, cards, and more, all with a single integration. They've even announced support for Android Pay coming soon here. Simple, secure payments is what it's all about. It's code that you can integrate in minutes. And it's all about giving developers what they need. You don't need to worry about taking days to integrate your payments. With Braintree, that's done in minutes. Super quick amount of time. If you don't have time, you can give them a call, and they'll actually handle the integration for you and walk you through it step by step. The Braintree code supports Android, iOS, and JavaScript clients. SDKs are in 7 languages: .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby. And it's all elegant code, clearly documented. 10 lines of actual in-app code, so it's super simple. Braintree gives you an easy way to accept multiple payment types with one simple integration. It's quick, knowledgeable developer support if you have any questions, so you're not stranded. And you can start accepting Apple Pay, PayPal, Bitcoin, Venmo, cards, and whatever happens to be next, all with that simple integration. With the Braintree V.0 SDK, one small snippet of code, and you're all set up in less than 10 minutes. To learn more and for your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free, go to BraintreePayments.com/Android and check it out for yourself. You can kind of play around in their sandbox and kind of put things together and see how it works for you, and just find out exactly how simple it can be. That's BraintreePayments.com/Android. Thank you for their support. All right, we have some app news. Let's do it.
Well, I feel the somber tone of the show continues, and Brian, you might want to cue up that that audio cue from earlier as well. It is with sad,
with a heavy heart.
Heavy heart that I report
As
that
they say.
my Android Arena pick from episode 132, Circa News, unfortunately is no more. Last week, Matt Galligan, the co-founder of Circa, went on Medium to post that Circa was being put on an indefinite hiatus. What Matt said was, producing high-quality news can be a costly endeavor, and without the capital necessary to support further production, we are unable to continue. Circa has not been updated, I think, since June. I think it was like June 23rd, maybe, or something like that. Yeah, of this month. No, it's been up to this month. It's literally just happened. And there's no way around it. It sucks. I'm actually friends with a guy who works at Circa, or worked at Circa, and it was just bummer to see this happen. And this is what happens. I mean, people come up with these great app ideas, and they raise the money to do it, and they take it as far as they can, and you get to a point where either, okay, you're going to figure out how to monetize it, or you're going to get bought or sell it to another company or whatever, and for whatever reason, and I know very little about the specifics of what happened, but there was rumors that Twitter was going to buy it. There were rumors of other companies sniffing around in April and May, and they just couldn't make it happen.
It's got to be so soul-crushing to develop something that gets the kind of pickup that Circa got.
Yep, yeah.
And then to end up, a short while later, at this point, I can't even imagine.
It was a great app, and it was my source of news. I hate mainstream news. I don't watch TV. I don't read the news and all that sort of stuff. Circa was able to take the key facts and put them together in a way that I could absorb. A couple of people hit me up on Twitter asking, now that Circa's gone, what should they use? I recommend Source, which is by the people who do Talon, my Twitter app, and that's a pretty good news app.
Yahoo has the Yahoo News app, and we've showed that off on the show, and it's similar. It's not the same exactly. It gives you like the top 9 or 10 stories of the day, of the morning and the evening digest or whatever. but it's similar in the sense that it gives you the story, and then they write, extra context into it and give you links to like tweets and a lot of the similar type of kind of crunching the information from multiple angles and giving you different ways to digest it and tack on to that knowledge. So they definitely, Circa definitely created something interesting that others are kind of benefiting from, and even said in the Medium article, like, undoubtedly, I hope that influence continues.
Yeah.
And, man, that's gotta suck so bad.
I mean, and it's been a bad year
to know that you've influenced like that, and just be like, oh, we couldn't make it work.
Yeah, and we've seen the shutdown of GigaOM, and we saw which one got bought by Vox. Was it Recode got bought by Vox, or who was it that got?
Recode.
Yeah, Recode got bought by Vox or merged with Vox or whatever. It's content. As speaking as someone who owns a company that once created content on a daily basis covering a niche audience in comic books, but it's really hard to keep those businesses afloat.
Oh,
I mean, Ron, you can.
Verizon owns Engadget and TechCrunch now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a tough game out there. So
crazy.
Yeah. And I liked what Circa was
world.
doing a lot. So it's a bummer. But anyway.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
Moving on.
All right. How about a Google Apps twofer?
Ooh.
See, this is the third twofer.
It's full of twofers.
Yeah, no, it's a threefer of twofers.
A threefer of twofers. I love it.
Okay, one. Google Translate now recognizes when a translation might be a bit too literal, and instead translates that into being more conversational. So, for example, you might get a translation that says, "And is not it all right?" And it will know to turn that into, "Is everything all right?"
Wow.
Yeah, which is
awesome
awesome for a translation app, right?
Right, that is really good.
So that's
cool.
very useful. Translate's not an app that I use all the time.
Well, it's a very specific
maybe never.
use. It's a very specific
I don't do
use
enough,
case.
world traveling, I guess, to put it to use, but super handy and, for when you are in those situations. I know a lot of people get a lot of value out of it.
Right.
Google's so good at this crowdsourced, machine learning stuff. I mean, they've been doing the same thing with voice recognition and image recognition and all this other stuff. They're just very good at building this crazy cloud brain that can figure all of this out, and it's really cool. And someday I hope we'll power a big giant robot that can translate things and talk to us and
eventually
all that.
kill us.
In the shape of an android, and then it will kill us.
Actual android.
We'll laugh and point at it and go, "Oh, look, it's dancing," and then it will destroy us. No, we are Android's allies, so we're covered.
Yes, we're gonna be okay.
Cool.
We're gonna be the minions. We're gonna be the guys like
we'll round up the disbelievers.
Oh man, but that's not it. Google,
That's not, because this is in fact a twofer.
Twofer.
So how about this next story puts the two in twofer?
Did you say twofer? No, topher.
Wrong.
I'm always getting that mixed up.
You think you're one step ahead, but you're not.
Look at Brian.
I thought I had it.
Google announced new partners that will work in tandem with Google Fit. Nutritional data from apps like LifeSum and Lose It will now actually feed into the service. And MyFitnessPal is one of the partners, will feed its nutritional information into Google Fit, so making Google Fit even smarter. And there's also more hardware compatibility announced as well. So Google Fit.
Love the Google Fit.
Again, kind of an app that I sync stuff to it, but I don't use it. Like, I don't open it up and go, I'm going to take a look at the data that I've accumulated in Google Fit over the last 2 months.
Yeah, I'm not using it that way, but I'm definitely using it in that when I go for a run, Runtastic syncs directly via the watch and the app and whatever and does it. But when I go to the gym, it doesn't. And so I need to go, okay, I was on the elliptical for 30 minutes and I did, blah, blah. So I'm using it that way. I'm just not going back into doing any analysis. I just like when the little circle spins and it goes, you met your goal. And so that makes me feel like I accomplished something. So
the whole fitness thing is weird to me because it's like the only hardware we have that will automate measurement is something that counts steps.
Right.
And steps is such like a weird, like fuzzy kind of number where it's just this piece of hardware's best guess as to what you've done today. And it's like it's really not a measurement of anything at all. It's just this weird guess where like you have to be such a crazy like spreadsheet person to do this fitness stuff where you have to, type in whatever your meal was and type in however far you ran and type in, your workout routine or whatever. Like there's nothing like if you lift weights, there's no solution for that. Running, you can kind of do distance on a GPS thing, which is a little nicer than step crap. Like Runkeeper is okay. But for the most part, there's no way to measure food, which would be weird. Yeah. Anyway, it's just so hard. It's so much work for what? What do you get at the end of the day of this? Mm-hmm. Some computers guess as to how many calories you've burned or some wacky goal thing. I mean, if it gets you out doing stuff, I guess fine, but it's nothing serious and scientific. It's just like a funny spreadsheet game. You can play, I guess.
And I think this applies to a lot more than just Google Fit, right? Like we have these mobile devices, they're capable of so much, so we want to use them in all of these different ways because we think that having a computer in our pocket is going to make those things easier than if we didn't. But the reality is, like entering the the food that you eat every day. That's a tall order. Yeah, like that's not an easy thing. No matter how you slice it, that takes time and concentration. And you got to be okay with the fact that a certain significant chunk of your day is you looking at the phone going, okay, I had 3 Twinkies and I had,
get a measuring
for what benefit?
Cup. Put the food into the measuring cup
before you eat it.
Right, exactly. Then you're guesstimating it. This isn't a proper estimate because, I actually just guessed that it was about 1.5 cups, but it could have been 2.
Your food is now cold.
Yeah. And, that or, taking notes or, I mean, there's like groceries. Groceries is always this thing that I'm like, I've got to use my phone for my grocery list because it just makes sense. I'm going to share it with my wife or we're going to do our grocery list or whatever. But it turns out it's just way easier for me to pull out a sheet and a pencil and go, done.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it should be easier in the phone, but it's not.
Well, again,
not for me.
Going back to what I was saying in the Star Trek world, we're close. Like these are the steps that are close, but we're not quite there. This actually reminds me of, I posted on Google Plus about this, but so when I was in New York, when I'm in New York, I stay out on Long Island, I share a car with my sister and my brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. So I was driving. I don't normally drive. I don't have a car in San Francisco. And I noticed one day I drove from Long Island into Manhattan, I parked and I was going home and I looked at Google Now and it showed me my parking location. And because my phone realized that, hey, he's not walking, he's driving. And okay, he drove for an hour and then he stopped here and this is where the car is. And it was right every time. It was so cool. And now that I'm back in San Francisco, it really wants to tell me where my parking location is, but I don't have a car. It's like, well, that's where the Uber dropped me off. So I guess.
Oh, you're obviously driving.
It's knowing that I'm driving, but I'm not actually driving.
Like it should know you use the Uber app. That's right. That's the context.
Yep.
Or there's some sort of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi in the Uber car that it recognizes. It goes, oh, this is
he's
Uber.
A passenger. But
are you a driver?
No.
Are you an Uber driver?
No, I don't have a car. But that's an example of these phones, even though they're doing more than we've ever been able to do, they're still limited in the physical nature of this, counting steps, detecting when you're driving, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so. and mind you, I am not, and I don't think any of us are looking to minimize the effectiveness of this for some people. Like Fiefdom in the chat is saying, be that as it may, I lost 90 pounds in a year using my FitnessPal and a Fitbit.
There you go.
I'm not saying it's not effective for some people. I'm saying for me...
That's awesome, Fiefdom.
Yeah, and I think there are just many examples. Like that might not be a good example for you, Fiefdom, but there are probably other things that you would think that a smartphone or this piece of technology would actually empower you, and what it actually does is hinder you, or the complication doesn't seem that big, but it's big enough for it to just kind of turn you off of the idea over a long period of time.
Right.
But I'm very happy that that worked for you, and you are not alone. There are a lot of people that have lost weight and made fitness gains as a result of doing things like this. So hey, what works for you?
If it's
perfect,
if it's motivating, that's great. I'm just saying it's inaccurate and unscientific. But motivation, that's fine. Knock yourself out.
just don't think that you're doing any science. Yeah. Don't Cool. All right. Well, one last bit of apps news, all about Android. Favorite app, Pushbullet, has released their biggest update ever. It came out today. I actually updated while I was in the car driving up to the show. Not only was the app totally redesigned, it was given messenger functionality that allows you to connect with friends and chat and exchange files from inside the app. Jason and I tested it as I was driving up to the show, and it works, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
Are you going to write to me?
Sorry, I was trying to pull it up on my Nexus 5, and I didn't have the update, I don't think. But I do.
The Android M preview, how's that going for you?
Great. I have no problems. I have no problems. I literally have no problems anymore. It's great.
I couldn't get OK Google to work, and a bunch of others. Did I just activate everyone's phone? Yeah,
you probably did. You probably did, but
always on does not work. It will work when it's plugged in. It will work when the screen is on, but it will not work when the screen is off.
Oh, interesting.
Which is my killer app.
Oh yeah, that is.
But we are due an Android M update like now, tomorrow.
Yeah, the end of the month, right?
Very soon.
Yeah, we're gonna be getting that. Hopefully they address that. So the new Pushbullet, which Pushbullet in my opinion is one of the essential apps on my phone.
Yeah, it's awesome.
New huge update that we've been hearing a lot about, teasing up until now, and of course it's chat functionality, which some people are like, I need a new chat client, like I need a hole in the head.
Right.
But you know, it kind of makes. I think it kind of makes sense for Pushbullet, which is all about pushing things and information and stuff from one device to another. It's not just about passing information from your one device to your other device. They kind of a while ago, built in integration so that you can have connections to other people. And so this seems like a natural extension of that. I don't know how much I'll be using chat inside Pushbullet necessarily. I would love to have this kind of history on all of my SMSs that get routed through Pushbullet. That would be great. Morton iodized salt. You shouldn't have.
There you go. Just for you.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, it looks
very cool.
Nice. It's, and the web component is all redesigned and everything too.
Wait, you pushed a picture? I mean, everything will push a picture. Can you push like an APK? That's only something I would ask.
Oh, yeah,
Nobody
no,
else
you can push. You can do. So here,
send
do
file.
Attach and then send file. I don't know what's on my phone, but yeah, you can. You can choose where you want to open it from. So, I'll go to downloads and I can, there you go. I'll send you that. It's a JPEG.
It's still a picture.
Still a picture. Sorry. Hang on. Send file. Got a lot of pictures here, Ron.
I'm getting lots of pictures from Ron Richards in my Pushbullet
Here's
chat.
a menu. There you go. That's a PDF.
Okay.
I can't wait to get a
there you
PDF of delicious food that I can't eat.
Well, because that's something that you can't do in a normal chat app.
Yeah.
You can't do it in Hangouts or anything else. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Pushbullet's great.
And what's interesting, I think, in the new update is that you have your list of your friends who you chat with, but then your pushes are it's like a chat with yourself.
It's your history of pushes, and you can dial it down to which device you push to and all that kind of stuff.
I've got my browser.
I mean, I have Pushbullet. My favorite thing about it probably is you never have to touch it. Like I have it on my phone. I have the extension installed. I get notifications on my computer. I can send files back and forth. That's really cool. Never open the app because you don't need to. It's just everything.
It's just
everything is a
for you.
push. Mm-hmm. And now it's like open Pushbullet and I'm like, Pushbullet has an interface? Right, yeah, I set that up like 2 years ago.
That's a pretty nice looking interface, especially the web component. I've been using Pushbullet lately with if this, then that, and using the channels. It turns out the best way to get notified about stuff on Craigslist is if this, then that, channeled to Pushbullet. It's awesome. You get notified immediately of stuff, and you can be the first person to respond.
So if something is sold, then push to Pushbullet to...
If something is posted on this search query on Craigslist, and you can dial that down however you want, and then create that,
and then can you specify which device, or just send a Pushbullet and send to all your devices? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I've learned a couple of things by doing this. Yeah. I've been watching the free stuff in North Bay, just like curious to see what people get rid of for free.
Yeah.
Why would you ever pay for a hot tub or a piano? Those stuff
have been free
every single day.
Wow.
Every day somebody has a hot tub and a piano to get rid of.
Is it functioning?
Yeah.
Do you now?
They're not in perfect condition. Right. So like you might have to tune the piano or whatever. But yeah, because they're like big and people get sick of them. I mean, I imagine the hot tub's probably a risky scenario, you know. But there are plenty of
especially after you move it.
Yeah, exactly.
Know what you should do?
But the piano, it's like, why would I ever pay for a piano? Everybody gets rid of them.
Get a free hot tub and a free piano, and then mod them to be one, and it could be a hot tub piano.
Hot tub piano machine.
Saying, haven't you been in the hot tub? I'm like, I really wish I could play Heart and Soul right now. Saying.
I like the idea of a hot tub piano machine.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Reel it back. One final email, and then we'll get to the arena here. Stephen Castle writes in and says, I bought Motorola with a thought that I liked some of the features, particularly the speech to me of texts while driving, and that I'd get L quickly. I have a Droid Turbo, Motorola's latest phone, and
There's your problem.
no L. My Samsung work phone, which is a Note 4, was updated about 3 to 4 months ago. You guys really need to give this some press. Well, it turns out, because you wrote that email to us, Verizon just announced that Droid Turbo gets Lollipop starting.
We talked to
tomorrow.
Verizon, and
Yes,
no.
we checked in with Verizon, and by we, I mean somebody did, and Droid Life wrote an article about it, and they have told us that you get your update starting tomorrow. Probably not tomorrow, you won't get it, but it's going to start rolling out. So there you go.
There you go. Look
And,
at that.
So there is a clear distinction that needs to be made here. There are Motorola devices, and then there are Verizon devices. And just because Motorola contracts out to Verizon does not make the Droid Turbo count, in my opinion, as a Motorola device. It is definitely a Verizon device, as you can see from the update speed. It's not. This is like a weird old contract thing where Motorola and Verizon have been doing devices forever, and they never get supported. It's purely Verizon's problem with all their, user interface crapware junk on it, and it's not. Like, do research before you buy a phone. You want to buy a flagship from a company that does quick updates and nothing else. Like, no other phone. There's only a tiny, tiny, tiny handful of phones that will get updates. And it's like the regular Motorola devices and flagships from everybody else, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And actually, last week's guest on the show, Jerry Feel of Computer World, does regularly kind of check in on updates on I think it's like a report card that he gives.
Yeah, report cards,
a
right.
grade on how different OEMs, the main OEMs, not the smaller outfits or the lesser knowns, but the main ones, how they do historically on updates. And that's usually a really good read to kind of get a sense of that. So he can do the homework for you. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Alrighty. I'm sorry about last week. I didn't mean to be overwhelmingly victorious.
Why you got to be such a jerk, Ron?
Oops. My bad.
Oops. I accidentally won. Yeah, Ron, it wins.
It's hard
Sunrise
to argue
calendar,
Sunrise,
63%. Sunrise,
yeah.
Kind of a big deal.
But it was the Meet thing that put me over the top. That was the replacement keyboard. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Water your body. Didn't do quite as well, 23%. But hey, I've never drank more consistent water
there you go.
as I have since I've started using that app, and I'm still using it, and I'm going to continue using it because it's totally effective. Heads
How
off.
has Sunrise not been on the arena before?
It slipped through the cracks. I don't know. Let's not question it. Let's just.
Well, look, you deserve it for the amount of research it probably took to catch that to see it wasn't there.
Yeah, no, but honestly, it was the kind of thing where I feel like it came out and then we either didn't do it or like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Or then it got bought by Microsoft, but then it was that Meet keyboard that made the new addition to it. Have you seen that, Ron?
I keep thinking MEAT when you say Meet
it's
keyboard.
It's a Meet keyboard. It's
It's kind of grossing me out.
I mean, have you seen this, Ron? In the new Sunrise, when you're texting with somebody, you can actually physically change the keyboard Android uses to a view of your calendar and use that to suggest a meeting time, and it sends the person a link to the meeting appointment information.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, neat. Okay, so I guess it's kind of like Hangouts.
Yeah.
Hangouts on iOS, where it'll change it just swaps the keyboard area out for like pictures or a camera or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was very cool. We haven't done a check-in as far as the scoreboard, and I'm happy to report that you are tied, Jason. You were tied with guests with 8 wins.
Woo!
Yeah, you're right.
And then I am in the lead with 9 wins. So we are neck and neck this year. I don't think we've ever been this tight week in and week out.
It's intense.
It's very intense.
This is an intense competition we have this time.
So since I won,
finding an app when I come on here is always the hardest part. I'm always like racking my brain. I can never find anything. I don't know how you do a weekly show. That's insane.
Neither do I. Sometimes I have no idea.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging. Sometimes you have to go for the kind of things that set you apart from the other apps in mysterious ways.
Look at that.
I know. I'm just saying. Sometimes maybe you want to pick out an app that runs on cardboard because it's,
Oh wow.
because it's cool. So what we have here is my app, and let me alt tab so I can get to. It's called Proton Pulse.
All right, so cross your eyes, and this might work.
Is it a game?
It's a game. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on and look doofy. Actually, Ron, no, here I'll show you how to play. So I've got this up here. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and start this. Hope you lost it. Oh, because the cable on the side.
There you go. You're back.
All right. This is not going to be easy. Okay.
Wait. This does actually work if you cross your eyes. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. It's how I preview cardboard videos on YouTube when I don't have cardboard. Okay, so we're setting it up. Basically, what it is it's 3D breakout essentially.
Really?
And so, where is my play field? Where's my play field? World 1. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little confused because doing this and doing the show is not easy. Okay, so there's my play field.
Brian,
Here comes the ball.
Can we get a split screen or something here to show? Okay, good.
Oh, okay. See, so it's 3D breakout. You gotta follow the ball.
Oh, this is like Weltris. Do you remember Weltris?
Yes, it totally is. It's kind of like Weltris.
Yeah.
It's in 3D.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. It's awesome. I literally swapped out my app 3 minutes before the show because when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's done. It's over. This is what I have to do. And it's just a lot of fun. You have a little power move that you can do when you hold down the thing and it slows down time. Oh, and everything starts flying at your face because it's in 3D. And you're like, I think I'm going to hurl, but no, I'm not because I'm really trying to win this game.
I like that you're playing and narrating.
I'm a competitor.
Very impressed.
Ron.
I know you are.
And so here we go. Get ready. Here we go again. And this is the game. It's a lot of fun. It's $2. Well, it's $1.99. Save yourself a penny. And I don't know. Go ahead and.
I gotta try this. I gotta try this. All right.
Careful that you don't lose the video.
Wait.
Yeah, your arms are tired now though because it's cardboard and there's no head straps.
Good work. Good
this
work.
Is super cool.
Isn't it cool? It's a lot of fun. It's called Proton Pulse. $1.99. And I don't know. You should check it out. It makes me excited for more applications like this, more games in the cardboard universe. It doesn't overcomplicate things, obviously. It's just kind of moving the square around in your view and hitting the ball back and forth, but it's got nice depth to it. When things break and start flying out at you, you really feel kind of the three-dimensional kind of quality of it, like that. You just entered the Matrix.
I'm trying to figure out how to get a better ricochet.
Oh, yeah, do like a slide move or something.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Oh,
look at that.
Yeah,
baby.
You win.
All
right, so it's Proton Pulse, and every level is different. They kind of set it up a little bit different. Like right here, you've got little Tetris pieces kind of rotating out in the void. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I feel like I've seen this before.
Maybe it's a virtual boy.
It was pretty cool though.
This is so cool. I'm just gonna do this for the rest of the show.
Yeah, see, you don't even need to review your app, Ron. It's cool. You can review mine instead.
That's the strategy.
But
exactly, I get him addicted.
Can you believe I don't have a cardboard viewfinder? I need to order one. There's so many out there now.
So that's $1.99 in the store, Jason?
Right, yeah, I know. I just haven't. Yeah.
$1.99.
Cool.
$1.99. It's called Proton Pulse. And Ron can't even pull himself away. That's how awesome it is.
That's cool. Very cool.
All right. Let's see here. Ron Amadio, you are up next. And I'll show it off. I have it installed on my Nexus 5.
Okay. My app is the Double Twist Cloud Player. So this is basically, it's a music player. Imagine Google Music if the cloud storage was powered by your Dropbox or Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive or whatever. So you load, MP3s or whatever you want in your Dropbox, and this app connects to Dropbox and streams your music over, just like Google Play Music. Only you kind of own the storage, I guess. Like it's on your computer and it's in a file interface where you can manage your music easily, and it's a neat alternative, I think, to Play Music where you get file access on a real computer, and if you want to manage your music, you can kind of really do that. But yeah, I mean the interface is exactly what you would expect from a music player. There's a free version that will work pretty much the way you would expect it to. The pro version, which I think is $5, adds like an equalizer and a couple other features. But the best part of it is it will play where Play Music will convert all of your music to an MP3. This will play FLAC and OGG and whatever other lossless format you want to throw at it. It will take your music and play it and not screw with it the way Play Music will. So it's kind of a cool alternative if you really want to be into managing your music on a real computer and having access to the actual files. And it's easier to add stuff to this too. So it's pretty cool. And it's amazing that they got this to work. Where
totally.
This is an app that connects to your Dropbox and it streams music and it just kind of works. I don't know what the data usage is like. That might be crazy, but
yeah, it's neat. I mean, it's just a really well-designed music player that kind of seamlessly integrates any music files that are on your device and in the cloud together. I really like it a lot. It's actually
Double Twist is
it's cloud storage that you get file access to, and it does lossless.
And I like how take this one right here. You see the yellow from the title is brought down into
nice.
Oh, cute! They did the
UI elements.
Yeah, material.
You get it on that down there as well.
Double Twist has a long history of being a really solid, cool, music implementation, of being a way to free your music.
Yeah. I have to imagine they've had to get a little creative though, obviously,
absolutely,
because the last couple of years hasn't been so good for independent music playing player apps with the kind of surge in popularity of cloud of streaming services basically, and that's what Double Twist really hung their hat on in the early days of Android. They were one of the best right from the beginning.
Marsworm says it doesn't play FLAC on all phones just yet. It played FLAC on my phone. That's all I can. That's all I can tell you. I don't know about device compatibility. You'll have to try it. There's a free version. Try it or whatever.
Cool. That is Cloud Player. It is free. Check it out. And finally, Ron Richards has an app that he would like to show.
All right, I would like to show.
There's a feed for your video.
If I hit the wrong thing on my phone.
Don't do that. It makes things happen.
It does. I'm in airplane mode now, which is going to be a problem.
Oh, definitely don't do that.
Turn on.
Is this your other strategy? Secretly sabotage?
This is horrible.
While Ron was lost in cardboard land, I grabbed his phone and did some things with it.
Airplane mode, new lock screen.
There we go. All right, we're back. We're back.
Cancel the cats. Cancel the cats.
Okay. So typically, and to let you behind the curtain of the Android arena, Jason and I, we tend to, with our apps, and Ron, this makes it even more harder. At least personally, I like to try to avoid doing official apps. Like we never put Instagram in the arena.
Yeah,
we might have. I don't know, but we never put like the main the Facebook app or anything like that.
I tried to do the Google Clock app, which came out this week.
It did.
So you can replace your crappy clock and its material design, but whatever.
But yeah, no, we have a no
shut down.
Yeah, we have a no Google rule. It's a little too obvious. Anyway, but this app that I'm putting in the arena, I'm breaking my own personal rule for Medium because Medium is one of my favorite websites that are on the web. There's a redundant statement. One of my favorite websites, and they've had an iOS app for a while, and I've been waiting for a Android app, and it finally happened. It finally came. And so they've got an official Medium app, which basically brings the entire Medium experience from the web to your phone in a very elegant way, which is basically one of the reasons why I like Medium so much, is because it's so elegant and it's so focused on quality content. For those who don't know, Medium was founded by Ev Williams, who's one of the co-founders of Twitter, and is a great platform for user-generated content. So while they've got some channels, like some quote-unquote magazines and some official writers in there, anybody can write an article and publish on Medium. And so it's kind of this democratization of content, which is pretty cool. But here I've opened up into the main screen, and what you've got is and here's a great example of a brand with a strong brand identity, with a visual look, but implementing material design to work in their favor, to work within their look and feel. We've got the little hamburger menu, and it slides out, and it gives me my, I'm logged in, so it gives me my stuff for my account. but in their own font and not in the kind of typical kind of the way that we look at it. And then we've got the top nav, which is a little kind of old-timey in terms of the design, in terms of this way of doing it, but does the left and right swipes as we've seen before. And basically, it just gives you your homepage, and you can scroll through the recent articles. You see an article. There's something for you, Jason. An article about Rush.
Called Catch the Spit.
Yep. So there it is. And from here, you can just scroll through, and it's honestly great for reading while on the bus or on your commute or on the train or whatnot. You can blow right through the articles, read them as much as you want. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then here we can see the tags that it's in. We can see who wrote it. You can write a response. You can favorite. You can heart something. You can favorite it. Of course, you can share it and you can bookmark it. It just basically is a complete experience of the Medium website, which is a really nice and, while looks simple, quite complicated and, like I said, elegant platform for publishing content. So Medium, I would strongly recommend it if you have any interest in written content, whether there's articles about tech in there, but there's also articles about society and life and people and all that sort of stuff. It's really kind of a unique little corner of the internet.
Yeah, Medium is great.
Ron, what was that plus button up at the top? Can you make a Medium post in it too?
I believe so.
Right there.
Right there.
Top
yep.
right. Yeah.
Yep, you can, and that's a good point, which I totally forgot. You can straight up publish straight from it. So you can write something and share it with your Medium folks, and it gives you all. Thank you, Ron, for reminding me. That gives me all. It gives you all the tools. Actually, we'll bring my keyboard back up so you can see it. You can change fonts. You can make something a quote. You can add a link. You can add an image. So,
Medium.
It's cool. I can't really write posts from my phone right now. I've been kind of looking for a solution for that, but
yeah,
I don't know. I guess our stuff is too custom. Well, I couldn't do Medium, but
because this isn't a writing app. It's an app to write to Medium. It publishes to Medium. So yeah, but yeah, and then within there you can within the app you can search for other articles, but then you can also take a look at your account, and here I can see. My account, I can see the article I wrote when I left Image, so you can see the stuff you've written. So, it's pretty cool. So, Medium, check it out. If you're not reading Medium, go to medium.com. It's one of my favorite websites. So.
Yeah, Medium's great.
Yeah.
Lots of great content.
Yeah.
Posts are always usually pretty long. I can't imagine writing a Medium post on my phone.
Yeah, well, but they don't have to be. They recently rolled out smaller quick thought posts, which is kind of more acceptable on the platform now. What I love about it, which they don't seem to have. Oh yeah, no, they do have it actually, and I unplugged the dang cable. But one of my favorite things is about Medium is that they are smart. And Brian, I don't know if you have it back up yet or not.
Yeah,
not
sometimes
quite.
it takes like 5 to 10 seconds.
But they have science in their application to, if you see that 5-minute read, so I can look at an article and I can say, how long is it going to take me to read this? Based on how quickly it takes people to scroll, they come up with the average of how long this read is. So this post right here, this is a little small one. It's only a 2-minute read. This
that would be interesting. I need that for my article.
Yeah. See this one about
complete history of Android.
Yeah, this one about June 26th is more of a 7-minute read. That Rush article was a 7-minute read, and I totally threw that off because you saw I scrolled all the way through it, so they probably got like, "Whoa, that guy read it in 15 seconds."
I imagine
that. They filter that out, but that's a great little bit of functional. Here's
21 minutes,
21-minute read. Yeah,
virtual reality arcade. That's such a great. That's awesome.
Yeah. I know.
That.
Yeah.
I don't even know what a 20-minute post looks like. How long is 20 minutes?
It's pretty long. So I'm just gonna keep scrolling through it.
Now I'm just lost in the thought of going to a virtual arcade.
That'd be cool.
Like walking through the arcade and going.
Well, I've favorited this article and I've bookmarked it so I can read it later. So there you go. Anyway, so Medium, check it out, download it.
It's like the evolution of emulation.
Back to the show. We got to wrap it up, Jason.
Sorry.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
It's like the next step. Okay, so sorry, I was lost. I'm having a hard time readjusting, but you can vote for your favorite app this week. Is it Proton Pulse, Cloud Player, or Medium? All you have to do is go to AAApoll.com/220 and let your voice be heard. All you really have to do is go there and tap on your favorite, and that's making your voice be heard. It's the easiest thing in the world.
Yep.
I'm curious to know what Brian's going to push here.
I don't think I'm going to do that on camera. I don't want to play favorites, Jason.
Brian knows he's on thin ice.
Yeah, right.
I get it. All right. So we'll check back in next week as we usually do and see who gets the win. But they were all great apps this week. That's it for this week's show. Ron,
I'll
been
defer
awesome.
to the guest. I'll defer to the guest for the plugs.
You've been excellent Rons today.
Good job, Ron.
Appreciate it.
Bronze.
Ron A, what you working on right now? You got anything to plug, to tease? Anything coming up?
Oh
What's up?
man, yeah. What I'm getting an Android Auto card soon. That'll be a big deal. I'm sure you've read other Android Auto reviews or whatever, but mine's gonna be super long in the standard tradition. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
And it's weird that I have to get like an entire car now. Like this is so much harder. It used to be just FedEx me a cell phone and I'll deal with it. And now like some dudes are gonna come and deliver this car, and
Wow.
it's crazy.
That is crazy. And so are you able to tell how long you're gonna have a car for? Like that's
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
have a
I've
car
got it
for
for
a
a
week.
week, and I'm gonna drive around, the loaner press car and see what Android Auto's like.
Do you normally have a car? Or you
Yeah,
like, okay.
yeah.
All right. So I mean it'd be one thing like if like I don't have a car and so someone gave me a car, I'd be like, that's pretty
Like,
sweet, even if it's
yeah,
for a
let's
week.
go.
Yeah. But
There
getting
was a driver's license and background check and all this other stuff. So,
yeah, you're just getting another car, basically.
Right.
So, yeah. So the rich get richer. That's all I'm hearing.
right
so,
on.
ArsTechnica.com, Ron Amadio on Twitter and Google Plus and everything else. You can just Google it. You'll find stuff, whatever. There's articles everywhere.
Excellent. Always appreciate having you on the show, sir. Thank you.
Fun to be here.
It's always great to have
Always
Ron.
awesome.
It's always good to have another Ron. I feel like they're strength in numbers. That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get Jason. Get him.
So
No, don't do it. I'm surrounded by menacing Rons.
we're hardly menacing.
That's true.
Hardly menacing.
That's true. Ron Richards, what about you?
Yes. I'm excited. I have things to plug and to share. Well, so number one, I recently made a guest appearance on my favorite podcast, and it should be your favorite podcast. I was on Star Wars Minute last week.
Second favorite podcast.
Second favorite podcast. Yeah, good point. Very good point. But your favorite podcast about Star Wars. How about that?
Okay.
But yes, they're doing Return of the Jedi, and actually they got the tail end. I got minute 124, which is the last minute of any dialogue in the movie. And so go to StarWarsMinute.com, and you can listen to me as well as all the other awesome people who analyze Return of the Jedi minute by minute. And if you haven't listened to Star Wars Minute,
I've never heard.
I strongly recommend it.
126.
It is fantastic. No, literally, like I think my show was. I think we were about a half an hour talking about that 1 minute. Yeah, so it's great. It's really great. So go listen to it. Go back, listen to Star Wars and Empire and then Jedi. And so, yeah. So StarWarsMinute.com, they're awesome. But then also the other big news, whether you care or not, but if you're interested in comic books, you know that I previously worked at Image Comics. Before that, I co-founded iFanboy. We did a podcast there. I have returned to the iFanboy audio podcast this past Sunday. I was back on the show, and we'll be doing it from now on again.
Nice.
So,
congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
so it should be
great.
good. It's fun. So if this isn't enough me, go to ifanboy.com where you can get all the latest news. Well, not latest news, but latest reviews of the latest podcasts that come out. My first episode was about Howard the Duck #4, right there on the Pick of the Week podcast. There it is. Yep. So good times. So go check it out.
Right on. Good. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Brian,
Huh?
it's been
What?
good having you back, sir.
It's good to be back. I felt a little rusty today, though, but I think things went all right.
Get back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Have faith.
Although, you've got me distracted now.
Why?
All I've been doing is looking at Craigslist.
Looking at free pianos.
Pianos and what about hot tubs?
Isn't it crazy? There are so many free pianos on Craigslist.
Are they free?
Yes.
Yeah, all
This
of
is
these are free. A lot of them look really nice, too.
If you are a piano collector, like Craigslist is the place to go. Apparently.
Is anyone a piano collector?
Free baby grand
Good
piano.
point.
biggest,
it's insane.
biggest requirement for piano collection apparently is a lot of space, because most of these people are like, we're moving, don't use this anymore, and need some to go to a good home, basically.
Wow.
That's crazy. I just assumed people pay lots of money for pianos, but at some point they just want to get rid of them.
Although now I
So
feel
it's also a cautionary tale.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I've been wanting to get into playing the piano again. I did a long time ago, but now I feel like I'm going to be one of those people that get it and then I'll stop playing and then it'll end up back on Craigslist. It'll be a forever cycle.
But think about that. If it was free to you, then you would pass it on.
There's no downside.
You didn't rent it. You didn't pay a monthly fee for it.
Pay it forward for the
Like all you had to do was go pick it up.
Truck.
Yes,
Except for the U-Haul truck, you have to rent to pick it up.
Okay, but what is that? $50 for the day. $50 spread out over the course of the next 2 years. Monthly cost, not very much.
Although,
I think you can do this, Brian.
So one of them stipulates that you have to be a professional piano mover. So I'm not sure. That's
how
like
how do they confirm that?
you just need a truck, right?
Yeah.
or it'll smash somebody, or you're trying to get it out of a tall building. I don't know. I've seen the cartoons. It doesn't end well.
That's true. That's true. They tie it to a rope with a little doohickey out the window, and somebody always gets smashed.
Well, sorry to derail things.
No, that's okay. It's fascinating stuff, and I want to know when you get a free piano. Please let us know.
I will totally let you know.
Where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Twitter at cranky_hippo. I'm pretty much that handle everywhere. And I do Thursdays with Padre. We do Know How. We always have some weird projects going on. Usually revolves around quadcopters. And then the new screensavers, which, Jason, I still have to train you how to do the TD for that.
Oh, no, I'll just figure it out on the fly. It's cool.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm TDing that in a couple of weeks.
In
your absence.
We have this upcoming Saturday, we have off for the 4th of July. And then the following week, I will be gone. So good luck.
All right.
I'll have a cheat sheet.
We should talk
for you.
about this, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because holy cow.
Yeah. It's fine. It's totally like doing this show, but 10 times harder.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. Cool. Well, thank you. Good to have you back. As for me, you can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. Follow my musical exploits at yellowgoldmusic.com. I'm actually hosting Triangulation next week. Ooh. And I'm interviewing Dave Pensato and Herb Trowick of Pensato's Place show, and I cannot even tell you how excited I am for this. Dave Pensato is a Grammy award-winning mixing engineer, and I'm a huge fan of their show. So you should check out Triangulation next week if you like music the way I like music. And then I do another show about Android called Android App Arena. It's at twit.tv/arena. Last week's episode was all about sharing files on a local Wi-Fi network. This week, it's all about the cloud. So there's going to be a little bit of crossover between today's episode here and tomorrow's episode on Arena. But anyways, you check it out, twit.tv/arena. But as for this show, that is it. We will see you next week. Voicemails 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email and video mail at AAA@twit.tv. We're on Twitter. We are at Android Show. We're on Reddit. We have a subreddit at twitaaa.reddit.com. Show notes and past episodes can be found at twit.tv/AAA. Should be set to public. Last week's wasn't. Threw a lot of people off. Sorry about that. Will be in the future. YouTube and iTunes also for other episodes, for all of our episodes. And you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific at twit.tv/live on the news site. So check it out. That is it for this week. We will see you next week with Gina Trapani on another episode of All About Android. Bye, you guys.